Hello and welcome students to the first online lecture of the subject object oriented programming. So this is a newly introduced subject to your scheme. You might be knowing that this subject has originally been into the fourth semester of engineering, but now it has been transferred to the third semester where it is known as object oriented programming, but it will be covering the old same language known as Java. Earlier it was named as programming methodology. So now we are going to cover object-oriented programming. First of all, where we need to study the difference between OOP, the short form of this, versus POP. Now what is this? This we know that it is object-oriented programming, whereas this POP stands for procedure-oriented programming. Now what is this? So this is a very important concept where we should know the difference between these two. So while pointing out the differences, this of course stands for object oriented programming. So for studying the procedure oriented programming first, we will need to know what does it mean. So first of all, we will take the example of procedure oriented languages. The examples are C, C++, Java and so on. So these high level languages which we today know are all coming under this category known as procedure oriented programming. Again we can go into the details like what is the need and why these languages are known as procedure oriented language. For example, if we know that when the first computer was developed, it was developed by Charles Babbage, if you know. Charles Babbage, when invented the computer, we say it as a hardware. He invented a hardware, a machine, which of course did the only simple calculations known as calculator. So this hardware only understands a language known as binary language. It only understands a language known as binary language. Binary language, which we know, it is a language consisting of only zeros and ones. Only zeros and ones. So this hardware understands a simple language known as binary language. So this binary language, we can name it over here. This is a binary language consisting of zeros and ones. So this language is known as low level language. It is known as low level language. Then there arise some disadvantages of low level languages. We need not to go into details of that. But programming in low level language was not that easy. So what happened was there was a need of some higher level of language, which we now call it as a medium level language. It is a name. The name is medium level of programming languages. Medium level languages. It consisted of this language, assembly language. Consists of assembly language, where these instructions were modified into some simpler syntaxes, where assembly language programming is now known as machine level language. Again, into the recent times, the programming languages evolved and are now called as higher level of languages. These higher level languages now are known as C, CPP, Java, Python, or whatever the new languages we know, R for example. So these are all the languages known as high level languages. So we have now categorized the languages into such category where these are called as the levels of languages. So what has happened? We are not going to study the lower level of languages like medium and low level language as of now. This subject we are going to cover in the next semester. We are now interested only in the higher level of languages, that too specifically the Java. Clear? So again, if we try to focus on only these three languages, we come to know that out of these three languages, C, CPP and Java, C is a procedure oriented language, whereas CPP and Java are object oriented language. So this is the first and foremost difference with respect to examples between OOP and POP. So what do we mean by actually the procedure oriented language or procedure oriented programming language? For that we need to take an example. So if we consider a code in C, for example, this is what it means. We declare some variables This is a simple 4-line code in C where we have declared some variables over here, 3 variables. Then we have calculated some new value in the form of D, which is the average of 3 numbers. Then we have printed some statement. Then there is getCS statement. getCS statement is to hold the output into the screen. So this is a C language program. So why this C is procedure oriented? We'll focus on this. The procedure oriented, the term indicates, or the meaning of the term is sequence oriented. Meaning is sequence oriented. Now what is the sequence? Now for that we need to go back to the definition of program. What is program? Program is nothing but the collection of instructions. Collection of instructions. What is instruction? One single instruction. For example, the declaration of variable A, declaration of variable B, declaration of variable C. This is nothing but one single instruction. So this becomes one instruction. Calculation of D is another instruction. Printing some variable or value, it is third instruction. And this getCS statement. So this is instruction. So what we have written over here is the collection of all these instructions. So this collection of instructions is nothing but a program. So we have arranged this instruction into some sequence while writing the code. So the sequence we follow in writing the code is exactly the sequence of execution of that language. If that is the case, we name that language as procedure oriented language. The meaning is, if this statement is written first, which statement? The declaration statement. If declaration statement is written first, this statement will get executed first. It is very similar to first come first serve basis of a programming approach. So what happens is, the statement or the instruction which is written first is executed first. Then according to the syntax, the next instruction in the sequence is this instruction of calculation of D. So then the D statement will be executed, means the second instruction will be executed. Then again following the sequence, this third statement will get executed. Then the last instruction. In this way, the total code of C will get executed instruction by instruction without breaking the sequence of instructions. If this is the case, that programming language is called as object-oriented programming language. Procedure-oriented programming language. So of course we can say that such is not the case over here. What happens here? Here some different criteria is applicable for the execution of the instructions. For example, now here we can say that the most important part or concept over here is the sequence of instructions. Depending on the sequence, the execution is carried out. Here what is important? Here the data is important. Here the data is important, where depending on that the execution depends. So now how we can say that data is important? For that again we need to go into the details of object-oriented programming. come across. The main concepts of OOP. The concepts of OOP, there are not many concepts depending on object-oriented programming. There are inheritance, there is encapsulation, there is polymorphism, there is dynamic binding, there are a number of concepts. But the main important concept which defines the object-oriented approach are two concepts known as, first is a class, second is a object. First is a class, second is a object. So we first can have a look at this class. What is class? A class is nothing but a collection of data and functions. Class is a collection of data and functions. Another definition is that data and functions tied together into one single unit is known as a class. It is syntactically very similar to a function in C. We can see that. See, for example, the code we have just written. So this is a code for a class. We can directly start with some example. This is a class. See, this is an example of class. Now, what is happening here? According to the definition we have seen, class is a collection of data and function. See, int A, int B. So these are the two variables we have declared here that holds the data. That means A and B represent the data. And as we can see in the code, there are two different functions. First is disp function, used to probably display something. Second is attend function, used to probably calculate some attendance or so. So these are the two functions operating over the same data. What is this? These are the two functions operating over the same data. Now what is happening? A and B are the variables which are storing the data, and disp and attend are the two functions which are operating on the same data. See, we can represent this pictorially as this is the data. This is the core part of the system, object-oriented system. This is the data, and what we can say that there can be n number of functions surrounding to the data actually working on that data. For example, if we can relate this diagram to this code, we know that A and B are the variables that are storing the data. That means this part, the inner circle, represents data. That means A and B are stored over here. We have also mentioned that disp and attend are the two functions that are operating on the same data. That means in this case, there are two functions operating on the data. Whereas in a generalized picture, we have represented that F1, F2, F3 and F4. There are four functions operating on the same data. Clear? So this is the example of a generalized class. This is the example of a generalized class where data is said to be the most important part of the system, and there are some number of functions which operate on the same data. In that case, such is the case of object-oriented programming approach. Clear? So, data and sequence, these are the factors which distinguish between the object-oriented programming approach and procedure-oriented programming approach. So, what has happened is, so the next thing we can see is that The examples of procedure oriented and object oriented languages. For example, C. C is the example of procedure oriented language. C++ and Java are the examples of object oriented programming. So again we can see that Java and C++, these both are the examples of OOP, but there is again some difference. We call Java as pure object oriented language, whereas CPP is not. There are some differences. We need to learn about CPP regarding that. So the main reason is that the concept of class and object, which are the main concepts in object oriented programming, has to be in every Java program. The main concept of class and object need to be present in every Java program, whereas it is not the case in CPP. That means just like C, we can create a C program without the concepts of class and object. Therefore, we can say that C++ is not a pure object oriented language, whereas Java is a pure object oriented language. The reason being very simple. Every Java program consists of a class and object concept, whereas CPP does not. Clear? So this is the very important difference between Java and CPP. However, both of these are object-oriented programming. Now there can be a simple question: if CPP program can be written without the class and object, how does it become an object-oriented programming language? Yes, this is possible because this program can be written without class and object, but the CPP programming language also supports the class and object. Means this program not necessarily need to include the concept of class and object, but it can also support the concept of class and object. Therefore, it is known as object oriented programming language. So this is the basic introduction of how the programming languages are classified into procedure oriented, object oriented, and the differences between POP, OOP and Java and CPP. So what is now next? Next we can talk about the examples of class. The examples of class and object. For example, we can write a code. If there is a class named as student, if there is a class student, now what is class? Class is a collection of data and function. Class is a collection of data and function. So it can include the data like int, a roll number of a student, then for example float value it can contain, percentage, then it can store characters where it includes name of the variable, name of the student, and so on. Sorry, we can also include some functions. Functions can include void display, again it can include void attempt. See, the concept of class is, we can see that it is very simple, but not the object. Object is a very huge concept, cannot be explained in just one single line, but we can at least imagine what the object is. So for example, this is a class. This is a class student defined, where it contains some data members known as roll number, which is an integer value, percentage, which is a float value, a name of the student having a character array of 20 characters. There are again two functions. Display and attain, working on the same data, working on the same data. So we can assume this class, or we can relate this class as a class of some students sitting over in a classroom. So what we can imagine is that if this is a class of second year, means the whole class of second year may be including 20, 25, 30, 50 students. So while referencing it from a outside world, we can reference to this class as a second year class. Clear? We can reference it as a second year class. But what is object? So concept of class is very similar to the same thing. Now what is important is an object. Now what we can do over here is we can point out at any one particular student amongst you. Any one particular student will stand up and say that myself, some name is some, for example, he say Pawan. What is the? He is a student named Pawan from second year class. So Pawan becomes the object. Pawan becomes the object. Now we can imagine that a class can have number of objects. For example, Pawan is not the only student in the class. There are number of students in the class. So we can relate at least one relationship between the class. A class can have number of objects. One class can have number of objects. Okay? So there is one more definition of object. The definition of object is the basic runtime entity of a class. Also, object is nothing but instance of a class. For example, Pawan. This is only a one student of the class. The same way, object is nothing but one instance of a class. We will get into the details of object into the next sessions. As of now, we have studied the differences between POP, OOP, the differences between C, CPP and Java. We have also studied the levels of programming languages, and also we have studied the definitions of class, object and its relation. Clear? Thank you.